An explosive leak at the Politburo involves black files, sparking claims that Xi Jinping is losing power. It is day 9 of Zhang Yuxia's disappearance, and even Xinhua stays silent. This time it is truly serious. Deadly attacks from Afghanistan kill 5 Chinese nationals, forcing Tajikistan into crisis mode. The real Shanghai is too cruel. Drivers hit crisis mode as the mobile roadblock era arrives. Thank you for joining us on today's program. Every key detail you need to know can be found right here in Fox Hunt China. An explosive leak regarding Politburo black files sparks claims Xi Jinping is losing power. At the Politburo meeting on November 28, 2025, the leadership reviewed a comprehensive report summarizing the results of nationwide inspections covering all 31 provinces, autonomous regions, and municipalities. After many months of hard work, the inspection teams had compiled a vast amount of material, essentially a set of black files, exposing the political backgrounds and signs of corruption among provincial-level leaders. This entire package of incriminating documents was placed directly on the Politburo's table immediately after the report was presented. The official communiqué emphasized 2 firm and uncompromising directives: take genuine, decisive action and strengthen supervision over key leaders. The underlying message was unmistakable. After examining the black files, disciplinary measures against certain provincial party secretaries and governors would be set in motion. However, the most striking detail lay in what was absent from the communiqué. In previous meetings announcing inspection findings, the communiqué always repeated a political loyalty slogan: deeply comprehend the decisive significance of the 2 establishes and firmly uphold the 2 safeguards. This time, though the communiqué still affirmed Xi Jinping as the core, the crucial phrase deeply comprehend the 2 establishes had completely vanished. Only the clause uphold the 2 safeguards remained. According to the commentator, the 2 establishes is the slogan Xi values most. It is an ideological elevation placing him above the entire party apparatus within the context of inspection rectification, traditionally a tool for political purges. Removing this loyalty formula is something Xi would never willingly allow. Thus, the only viable explanation is that the Politburo is no longer fully under Xi's control. Another internal coordination group likely drafted the communiqué, deleted the 2 establishes phrase, and required the Politburo to read it verbatim without any alteration. From this perspective, the call to supervise key leaders isn't interpreted as Xi targeting rivals, but rather as rivals targeting Xi's protégés, specifically those in the Zhejiang New Army and remnants of the Fujian faction. The inspection report is now likened to a literal book of life and death. Consequently, the November 28th meeting is portrayed as a power-defining confrontation where critical decisions were made about which Xi-aligned officials would be added to the next purge list. The communiqué ends with the familiar phrase, "The meeting also discussed other matters," wording that traditionally hints at major personnel adjustments. Combined with the stern tone of the inspection rectification content, this suggests that the purge of senior officials loyal to Xi has already been settled. The commentator describes the broader landscape as a process where inspection teams submit black files. Politburo members decide who is removed, and Xi's allies, once elevated for their loyalty, now find themselves gripped by anxiety, as nearly every page of the report bears the ominous shadow of the word settlement. It is this explosive leak, the vanishing loyalty slogans, and the black files' damning content that the commentator uses to argue Xi Jinping's power is weakening. His faction is being dismantled, and political control is slipping from his hands. It is day 9 of Zhang Yuxia's disappearance, and even Xinhua stays silent. This time, it is truly serious. Zhang Yuxia, the second most powerful man in China's military, has vanished entirely from official media for 9 straight days after being received in Russia with full red carpet, honor guard, and head of state protocol, marking the most terrifying silence in Beijing since the 4th plenum. On November 20, 2025, China's Ministry of National Defense released a terse notice of under 100 words, announcing CMC Vice Chairman Zhang Yuxia was visiting Russia by invitation. Moscow responded with the highest possible honors, a sprawling red carpet, honor guard inspection, Defense Minister Andrei Belousov personally greeting him, and a face-to-face meeting with President Putin. Yet the moment that splendor ended, a deadly silence descended. No photos, no meeting details, and no joint statement. Most tellingly, even the routine "has returned to Beijing" line was missing. Zhang Youxia's name was scrubbed from Xinhua, People's Daily, and CCTV for 9 consecutive days, unprecedented for the figure ranking number 2 in China's entire military apparatus. At one point, the original announcement on the PLA website even returned a 404 error before quietly reappearing as if nothing happened. For context, just days earlier, Premier Li Chang's visit to Russia made front-page headlines instantly, but lacked the red carpet or honor guard, making the contrast impossible to ignore. 3 anomalies have stunned political observers worldwide. Chinese state media went completely dark, a stark departure from Zhang's previous Russia trips in 2017, 2019, and 2023, all of which received detailed coverage the very next day. Russia accorded Zhang protocol higher than that given to the premier, a clear signal the Kremlin now regards Zhang, not Li Chang, as the real decision-maker on military cooperation. Moscow itself fell equally silent after the welcome ceremony, which is almost unheard of in the no-limits strategic partnership. This is not the first time Zhang Youxia has drifted from Xi Jinping's orbit. Cracks began showing in 2024. In August, U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan specifically requested a separate meeting with Zhang, a significant detail that was completely blacked out by Chinese media. In October in Hanoi, Vietnamese state media recorded that when leaders mentioned Xi Jinping, Zhang did not respond or convey greetings. Yet upon his return, Xinhua inserted a fabricated line claiming Zhang Youxia first conveyed General Secretary Xi Jinping's regards, a sentence that simply never happened. Overseas commentator Li Go put it bluntly and chillingly. In real interactions abroad, Zhang no longer mentions Xi, yet the propaganda machine still forcibly ties everything back to Xi just to save face. Even darker leaks from inside the Great Firewall claim party elders Hu Jintao and Wen Jiabao are orchestrating events from behind the scenes, turning Zhang Youxia into the new external military window for an emerging power coalition. Former Wen Weipo Dalian correspondent Jiang Weiping went further. Xi Jinping's power is now an empty shell. The man who actually commands the military today is Zhang Youxia. The 9-day information blackout in November 2025 seemed to mark the endpoint of a chilling trajectory, one that slid from perfectly normal before 2023 to visibly off-key in 2024, ultimately culminating in a phase of complete disappearance. This time, will Beijing still be able to patch things up with a belated report like it did after Vietnam, or will Zhang Youxia simply evaporate from official narratives forever? With Central Military Commission members falling one after another in purges, nothing that touches the man holding China's number 2 military post can be dismissed as a technical glitch or coincidence. Zhang Youxia's next public appearance, or his continued absence, will be the clearest signal yet of exactly how the power map inside Zhongnanhai is being redrawn. For now, the answer remains buried in the thick darkness of Zhongnanhai. The rest of the world can only hold its breath and guess. Deadly strikes from Afghanistan killed 5 Chinese nationals, forcing Tajikistan into crisis mode. 5 Chinese citizens died in 2 cross-border attacks from Afghanistan. Tajikistan urgently ordered a security overhaul. On December 1, 2025, Tajikistan and the Chinese embassy in Dushanbe confirmed that 5 Chinese citizens were killed and 5 others injured in 2 armed attacks launched from Afghan territory within a single week. This surge of violence is now reshaping regional security dynamics along one of Central Asia's most fragile borders. According to Tajikistan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the first incident occurred on November 28th. 3 Chinese workers were killed when assailants crossed the border from Afghanistan and attacked the compound of the Shaheen SM gold mining company in Hatlan Province's Shamsuddin Shohin district. Officials reported that the attackers utilized a drone to drop grenades, marking a rare and alarming escalation in tactics for cross-border violence. Just 2 days later, on November 30th, another attack targeted 2 Chinese nationals in the Shadakh region near the Afghan border. According to the Chinese embassy, the perpetrators originated from Razavi village in Afghanistan's Miai district. Tajik authorities have not publicly identified the groups behind the assaults, describing them only as Afghan-based criminal networks. However, a security source from Badakhshan told Afghanistan International that the November 30th attack likely involved Taliban border forces allegedly redeployed recently from other parts of the province. The Taliban has not issued any response. Tajik President Emomali Rahman's press office released a statement strongly condemning what it called illegal provocations by Afghan citizens. Rahman convened senior security officials to discuss tightening border control and ordered new countermeasures amid rising fear that instability could spill further into Tajik territory. The Afghan Ministry of Foreign Affairs, while refraining from addressing the latest attacks directly, had previously attributed unrest along the border to an unspecified third party and expressed willingness to cooperate with Dushanbe. Tajikistan, a mountainous Central Asian nation of roughly 11 million people, shares a long, rugged border with Afghanistan. Relations between Dushanbe and Taliban have remained uneasy since the militant group regained control of Kabul in 2021. The Tajik ethnic group, Persian-speaking and historically influential in Afghan politics, has long been associated with anti-Taliban factions, significantly deepening the political and cultural rifts seen today. The region's volatile security environment has intensified concerns among foreign investors, particularly China, which has become one of Tajikistan's largest economic partners. Notably, Beijing publicly denied a Daily Telegraph report in July 2024, claiming it was constructing a secret military base in Tajikistan as a buffer against Taliban-ruled Afghanistan. Satellite images in the report suggested significant activity around a high-altitude site near the border. The latest killings have renewed scrutiny of Taliban border management and the broader security implications for Central Asia. With China growing as a key economic stakeholder in Tajikistan and Russia maintaining its military presence there, the region is drawing heightened international scrutiny as a potential flashpoint between geopolitical powers and non-state armed groups. Currently, both Chinese and Tajik authorities seem focused on preventing more casualties. The Chinese embassy has elevated the threat level for nationals in the area, while Tajikistan is moving rapidly to fortify its border defenses. Whether these measures can halt the growing wave of cross-border violence remains uncertain. The real Shanghai is too cruel. Want to lose faith in job hunting? Just come to Shanghai. Once a glittering dream, it is now a grim symbol of unemployment, bankruptcies, and icy vacant office towers. Shanghai, once synonymous with modernity, wealth, and endless opportunity, now leaves countless people stunned, wondering what pushed this former promised land to a point where workers can only sigh in defeat. Young people now mock it with memes, claiming job hunting in Shanghai is enough to make you question your entire life. What once sounded like exaggerated sarcasm, go to Shanghai if you want to destroy your will to work, has become a painfully accurate snapshot of reality. Ordinary jobs offering basic social insurance, once taken for granted, have become a luxury. Companies dodge formal contracts in every possible way, labeling full-time roles as 3-month collaborations, hiring part-time without benefits, or placing workers under outsourced teams. One man shared how his wife hunted for a full year without landing a single formal role. Despite working 8-hour days, she was labeled temporary project staff, paid daily with no insurance or benefits, and was let go the instant the project concluded. He could only ask, has Shanghai truly run out of decent jobs? His lament echoes through thousands of similar stories. One woman recounted her 16-month unemployment saga. 492 applications sent, yet not a single interview. Each day, a fresh batch of viewed but no response alerts chipped away at her spirit. Only after scrolling Xiaoheng Shu did she realize that out of every 10 people posting, 8 are currently unemployed. Her despair became so overwhelming, she set a deadline. My lease expires in August. Either I find a job or I leave Shanghai. As people struggle to survive, the city's economic landscape is fading into bleakness. Entire streets sit silent with shuttered storefronts, and shopping malls once overflowing with crowds now look eerily empty. Videos show homeless people sleeping en masse on stone benches along the Bund. Even iconic spots like the City God Temple and Yuyuan Garden are so quiet that foot traffic is just 1/3 of 2019 levels. Some even claim footfall has dropped by 99%. 2 years ago, it was too crowded to move. Now, there is almost no one. Greenland Bingfen Mall, formerly a proud icon of Lujiazui commerce, now feels frozen in time. A netizen remarked, "Who could have imagined that a spot once jam-packed with crowds could become this empty?" And the decline is not limited to retail. The office sector has entered a downward spiral. Towers sit vacant for months or even well over a year. Real estate agents admit firms are fleeing en masse. One expert revealed that in 2024, an average of 5 to 6 companies departed Shanghai daily for Suzhou. 5 years ago, 70% of his client base was in Shanghai. Today, 80% of his work trips take him to surrounding cities. Businesses are fleeing for 3 core reasons: crushing operational costs. Personnel expenses are 30 to 40% higher, while rent and utilities are 40 or 50% higher than in nearby cities. Policies are perceived as cold and unsupportive, creating a deteriorating ecosystem. Supply chains, customer networks, and growth environments are all losing their vitality. Yet the biggest shock is that even iron rice bowls, state-owned enterprises, are starting to wobble. Rumors of a major workforce optimization at Shanghai Shentong Metro, affecting around 2,000 employees over age 50, have ignited heated debate. Though unconfirmed, the fact that new hires receive only 4,000 yuan, half the salary of veterans, reveals severe financial strain. Shanghai Construction Group is also currently engulfed in layoff rumors. Their mid-year report revealed revenue and profit dropping by over 20%. Employees recount termination the moment projects conclude, while others are sent home with only the local minimum wage of 2,691 yuan, or roughly $380. Rumors suggest the workforce could be slashed from 14,000 down to just 7,000 or 8,000. Q1 2025 financial results painted an even darker picture, with revenue down 46% and net profit plunging to 179 million yuan, about $25.3 million. When such massive corporations struggle to stay afloat, the wave of small and medium-sized enterprise shutdowns becomes far easier to understand. Once the dazzling emblem of Asian prosperity, Shanghai now confronts a stark reality. Exhausted workers, weakened businesses, and hollow office towers quietly reflect the heavy atmosphere of a city currently buried deep in economic winter. Drivers hit crisis mode as the mobile roadblock era arrives. Unless you saw it with your own eyes, you would hardly believe that the newest obstacle plaguing Chinese streets is the autonomous delivery car. Across Chinese social media, viral videos show autonomous delivery vehicles blocking traffic, stalling mid-lane, or timidly inching forward. What was once hailed as the future of logistics is now widely mocked as the latest cause of urban congestion. What makes this truly striking is that these machines are no longer experimental prototypes. In the first half of 2025, 103 cities authorized them for public roads, covering over 80% of major logistics hubs with more than 6,000 units in active service, marking a 50% year-on-year surge. They were designed to accelerate last-mile delivery. Instead, drivers complain they have become moving obstacles. Over the past 5 years, fleets operated by Neolix and Qicheng have expanded at breathtaking speed, and they now control around 80% of the market. These vehicles have become increasingly common in office districts, campuses, residential areas, and, crucially, public roadways. Yet their swift expansion has been met by an equally rapid backlash. Viral clips show them freezing instantly, crawling at a walking pace, reversing unexpectedly, or blocking whole lanes. Several incidents have further heightened public concern. In 2024, the authorities received a flood of complaints regarding moving roadblocks. By 2025, 2 delivery robots were caught facing off mid-road, neither yielding, causing a localized traffic jam. Other reports described collisions with parked cars or dragging electric scooters. For commuters enduring daily gridlock, frustration has reached its limit. The reasons behind these recurring failures are simple to understand. Real streets are far more chaotic than test sites. Robots handle standard scenarios, but falter when facing unpredictable pedestrians, wrong-way e-bikes, small animals, sidewalk vendors, or children darting near traffic. Humans use instinct for quick judgments, robots use probability. And when uncertain, they choose the safest option, a complete stop. This results in a sluggish speed of 5 to 25 kilometers per hour, far slower than the 30 kilometers per hour average of passenger cars during peak hours. Cost pressures worsen the problem. To commercialize at scale, many makers have drastically cut the number of LiDAR units, the most expensive sensors, leaning heavily on camera-first, LiDAR-assisted setups. But cameras only infer distance, while LiDAR actually measures it. When lighting shifts or scenes become complex, confidence drops, and every hesitation triggers a hard brake. Even when they see, these vehicles struggle to understand. Their decision-making is rigid. Human drivers negotiate constantly via microgestures, nudging forward, yielding slightly, or momentarily straddling a lane. Robots simply do not grasp these social cues. They know only stop or go. Without this layer of informal negotiation, getting stuck is almost inevitable. Compounding the issue, China's legal framework remains unclear. Although new autonomous driving regulations are pending, there is no unified national standard defining liability when an autonomous delivery vehicle causes an accident. With the question, who is responsible, still unanswered, companies are forced to program vehicles to avoid all risk, resulting in overly cautious behavior on the road. To shed the moving obstacle label, the industry must advance on 3 fronts: shifting from object recognition to intention understanding, evolving from rigid rules to flexible negotiation, and establishing a clear legal framework to reduce liability concerns. Until those changes arrive, the slow, hesitant behavior of autonomous delivery cars will remain the tuition fee for integrating robots into real-world environments. Though, unfortunately, it is everyday road users who are paying much of that cost. Let us know your thoughts by leaving a comment below. If you found value in this episode, please share it with others. Your encouragement drives us to keep bringing you thoughtful analysis. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more insightful episodes from Fox Hunt China.